Welcome to MySchool Assessments. We will be looking into the three main functionalities used by teachers: the assess grid, the review page, and comment templates. The assessment process is 100% customizable for our schools. Here we will look into how to take information from the assignment grade grid, use this information as part of the teacher's assessment grid, and we'll also look at how teachers can add templated adaptive comment templates to make text entry easier for large groups. Once the teacher's assessments are completed, schools can review the entries, preview assessment reports, and publish the final assessment PDF to parent and student portal. In the first example, we will be looking at how grades can be pulled from assignment averages and then used as part of a formula to calculate an end-of-year final assessment grade. Open the Assess grid and select the course from the drop-down list. These are restricted to the teacher's enrolled courses. Always make sure you have selected the correct term from the available assessment terms to the right. Note that each term may have different assessment values or carry forward calculations from one term to another. If you would prefer more details, then you can choose to assess in the list view. You can also see the mandatory fields which are marked with a red asterisk. This means that an assessment must be entered before the status can be changed. Status fields will show not complete, completed, reviewed, published, and locked. If we try to complete the assessment, we do get a pop-up saying that the mandatory fields need to be filled first. So let's switch back into list view and see which field is needed. The comment is a mandatory field, so let's add a comment and complete from here. If the assessment is set to completed, you can still change the assessment criteria. However, the other statuses will lock down the assess grid from use. Let's move back into the assess grid and continue to grade from there. We can see that the term average is grey. This shows that a value is being pulled or calculated from elsewhere. In this case, the term assignment average for the autumn term. The assessment field override allows educators to change this number on the assessment reports. If it's left blank, then it will be populated with the existing value from the term average field. We always suggest that teachers add a comment to validate numerical entries, but this is optional. In the case that you choose rich text, please note that this could affect the final end result if all teachers use different size fonts and styles. However, rich text does allow teachers to add the pre-made comments. The student name and adaptive pronouns are built inside of the text. We will look at how to build these at the end of the video. So let's just select one and apply by clicking in the comment field. It is up to the teachers to choose which display type they prefer. However, there are some advantages to the grid which makes it easier for larger groups. Here, we just want to add a general feedback comment. Simply enter in one cell and use the bottom corner to drag down the column. This works for grades as well, and statuses, so it makes it a little easier to assess your courses. We can see that it still follows the mandatory fields, so let's go back and complete the entries. Let's now look at how teachers can have progression in the assessment grid and assess based on previous term's grades. Switch now to the spring term. We see that we have the grade pulled from the override field in the autumn term and not the actual assignment average. Alongside of this, there is the assignment average now available for this second spring term. Note that the comments are independent and refreshed each term. Now, if we switch to the end of year assessment period, we can see both assignment averages showing, with two new open grade fields for project and exam, and the final grade field is a formula with a weighted average, so schools can determine what importance each entry should have on the final calculation. If you need to enter a non-numerical value into the grade grid, NA for example, then this is possible if it has been configured to accept this. We call them additional values. Equally, if you have put a maximum out of scale, as 100 for example, the teacher cannot enter a value outside of this range. This is useful when using multiple grade fields for projects or coursework. Learning outcomes are another way to assess students, and MySchool once again has a complete system to offer you here. Teachers can use the learning outcomes in the assignment grade grid, which are then carried across as evidence for reviewers to confirm the final assessment. We can also see that we will be using the learning outcome average, which is shown in the assess grid for grading. This can be then translated back into an achievement scale if you do not wish to show a numerical value to your students. Schools can choose to have the results showing to teachers on the assess grid, but not actually publishing the information. It makes it easier for teachers to have all the information in one place when they go through the assessment process. So when using an achievement scale, you will notice an arrow within the cell. Just open and select from the possible drop-down entries. It works the same way as comments and grades, so much that you can select a whole row and drag across all students. You can always change them individually after this. Earlier, we saw how to apply an adaptive comment template to a rich text assessment field. Let's now have a look how teachers can create their personal list. Go to Comment Templates in the Grade Report menu header. To help organize the lists, then the comments are saved in generic tabs. Click on a new template to add a new one. Firstly, select the type where you would like to see the template saved, and add a short description as a title. Choose only to have showing in certain subjects, or leave this blank if it can be used across all your courses. If you make it public, then it will be shared across all teachers, or just private if it's for your own use. Let's start off by adding a replacement tag. Select from the options and please do not amend the format, otherwise it will not work. Let's drop in the student's name to open the statement. When we get to a pronoun, we have a list to select from, so in this case, we start the next sentence with his, her, with a capital letter. Repeat entries if needed, and make sure the replacement tag's checkbox is enabled. Save this when complete. Now, let's go and have a look on an appropriate assessment field and check out the tags in action. Here, we replace the comment and add our new tag. Let's find it in the general list. Simply select to add and then validate by clicking inside the comment box. 18. We are always ready to help and give advice for your assessment process. Each subject may have a slightly different build and need. If you need any questions, then please raise them first internally with your administration team, who will then be able to organize a call with our CSMs.